Okay, so first I'm just going to share a few Zoom essentials, and then I'm actually going to go into how to do it on Zoom, because I mean, some people know, but it's really good to have it on a recording so that if you do need to come back to it, you can. So as we all know, Zoom links get lost and they're best sent out 20 to 30 minutes before the call. You can send them up to an hour is usually good, sometimes two, but you definitely, even if you've sent it like 1 week before, you definitely want to send it again shortly before, because it is so hard to find emails sometimes. So you must sign into the web page, not just the app, to see reoccurring meetings. This is especially important if you are sharing Zoom with anybody. And you need to schedule meetings, and some people will need tech support. So that's also going to be part of your role of facilitating this group, is being able to point people in the direction and offer them the support they need. So for example, a lot of people can't get on sometimes. And so, I mean, in a dream world, I'd be working with a co-facilitator and they'd be doing the tech part behind. But usually what happens is I'll do the intro, the piece around confidentiality, what the project is, and then as soon as I go into art making, I will problem solve to get those people back into the room, and I'll be typing and sending links and things like that, and supporting them as well. So let me now open up Zoom.
Have a membership, right, to have an unlimited.
Yes. So I mean, if you're going to do shorter meetings, you can do up to 45 minutes for free. But I do pay $20 a month for a membership. And I do find it incredibly useful because all the work I do is actually online. And so I think I ended up paying the year plan because it works out even cheaper than $20 a month. But it gives me all kinds of things. I can schedule a meeting as much as I want. I can see and be in control of scheduling. I can have recordings, which are really useful for teaching. Obviously, you're not going to be recording your groups because that would not be confidential, but for teaching and things like that, and also making videos. I often do a lot of my recording for Heartspace, for my courses, for other things that I'm doing on Zoom, and I will just record it and then edit it after. And so it's another really easy way to kind of create a camera and film yourself without even having to move away from your laptop, which can be really cool. Of course, if you want to move away from your laptop, I really encourage you to as well.
And did you say Zoom is approved to use?
Yes, it's PIP-DM PIPA compliant. It's encrypted. Yeah.
So just sorry, the non like the free one is also compliant?
Yep, it's compliant. All of it is
good.
compliant.
Yeah.
Yes, it's just the problem with the free one is it'll only give you 45 minutes, which is fine if you want to do 45-minute meetings, which you actually could do, especially if you're starting out, you could do that. But I recommend as a professional to have a Zoom account if it's something you're going to be using on a regular basis. It's really good, but you could also maybe use Owl or Jane because they also have video options. The reason I like Zoom as well is because we have the whiteboard, we can record in it. There's lots of different formats and features that we can use as well, but different programs have different things as well, but I definitely like Zoom the best so far.
You would have to have the membership in order to record it though and keep those recordings, correct? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's as much as I understand. Yeah, but you could also split membership. So quite a few people I know who are therapists actually share a membership together, and then they just schedule their meetings, which is what I was saying about recurrent meetings. So you need to log into the app to see, okay, Kate has a client at 2 p.m. on Tuesdays, every Tuesday, because if you just go into the thing in your toolbar, it's going to tell you there's a recurrent meeting, but it won't tell you the times. So if you are sharing it, but yeah, people do that. So it works. Kind of like sharing an office space. Yes, Denise.
Really small question. What happens if obviously the members are paying some kind of fee, right, to attend the group? But what happens if, they log in, they're there, and suddenly, for some reason, just as Sarah was saying, their connection runs out and they end up not attending the session, would you kind of refund them the money? Like, how would you work that out logistically if
Yeah,
it's
good
not their fault
idea.
and if they've showed up?
Yeah, good idea. I'd probably write a policy. I haven't really thought about that because that hasn't happened or people haven't asked me for a refund. And I think that it is a personal piece. If you are unable to connect, and I as a facilitator have done everything to support you, I think it's kind of, yes, up to them. That's kind of their responsibility. But if it is you, then I would offer a refund. Yeah. So if I'm like, I'm gone, that's a power cut, please have your money back. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. But again, it's personal policy. It's whatever you decide to do. But then I would include it probably. I haven't done that, but it's a really good question. So you might put it in when they sign up.
And would you ask them to fill in some kind of form with their detail before would you get their information, or would you just leave it quite open?
What we've done is we get the name and also their email. We've also included their postal code because my ED was very interested at some point about finding out where all over Canada and the world people were to kind of try and track. But that's all we asked. Okay. It's a very kind of surface level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What makes it exciting. You don't know what's going to come up in the session. And you're containing it in a way that it's like there isn't deeper stuff that's going to come up, but it can. So, yeah. Okay, so let's dive into Zoom if nobody has any other questions. Okay, so let me share my screen again. Okay, so you should see Zoom. And so this is my account. So if you go to zoom.us, that is, whoops, sorry, I'm like moving around everyone so I can see. So zoom.us is what we want to log into. Otherwise we have at the bottom, we have over here, it says my account. Whoops, I didn't want to click host a meeting. So I can put my job title in. I can choose the language. I can choose the time zone I'm in. I can also change if I want to have, for my personal meetings, if I want to have a password that they come. This is the other thing. So based on your membership level, it changes with how many participants you can have in a meeting. So on the $20 a month package, it's 100 participants. So if you want more, you need to pay more. So, but probably most people don't want to have over 100 people in a group, really. So yeah. So then we have all of these things on the side. So this is where I find my recordings. So every time I record these classes, I can come back here and I can download them, which is really useful because then either I can give the link directly to you so you can get them in Zoom, or I can edit them and use them for other things. Here we have meetings. So you can see we're in the meeting right now. If we're in a meeting, it comes up with a little red thing. So if you are showing a count, someone's going to know if you are in the room. So I've got all my meetings scheduled in. As I said, this is on a recurring, but I can see the times of my clients when I look in it. So that's why it's really good to log in if you are sharing an account as well, or if you need to know the timings of different meetings. With this, you can press schedule a meeting. And so you can call it, let's say it's Virtual Open Studio. If you can spell that. And then you're going to say, okay, I want it to be, I'm going to start my Virtual Open Studio on Saturday. And it's going to be, let's say we're going to run it 2 till 4 p.m. each week. So we'll start at 2 o'clock. The duration will be 2 hours. You might have it for an hour and a half. You can choose what time zone you want to put it in. This is what I was saying about recurring meetings, which is really, really useful, especially let's say I'm going to run a Virtual Open Studio for 9 weeks or whatever it is. So you can choose a recurrence. I want it to be weekly. You can also have it daily or monthly. It's going to repeat every 1 week, or I might have it every fortnight. And so I might put it as every 2 weeks. And then I'm going to say it's going to end by this date or after, and this is what I love because then I don't have to calculate the date. I can be like, okay, after 9 weeks, done. So then if you do not want to use Ticket-Tailor, which is something I'm going to show you later, which is paid, you probably want to do a registration format here. So you click registration, which is required. This is like an interesting place as well because attendees can register once and they can attend any of the occurrences. Attendees need to register for each occurrence to attend. So that's probably what you would want to do if you are doing a virtual open studio. Attendees register once and can choose one or more occurrences to attend. So maybe it would be that one. And then you can select a template. We don't have one. Passcode, I usually change this to something that's more meaningful for people. So I might change it to be online or create or art therapy, something that a word, because when people have to put numbers and letters, it often gets misinterpreted or lost in translation, even if we cut and paste, and then we're like trying to get in and then we can't. And so making something as easy as possible is a really good way. I also like to have a waiting room as well, because then I can choose to let the people in, and it also helps if so I can check off and be like, right, okay, Denise has signed up, Erin signed up, okay, but there's this person called Johnny, he's not on my list, so maybe I'm not going to let him in from the waiting room, right? So because he hasn't signed up, and it's protecting people. Okay, so then I'm also going to turn the video on. I want my video on and I want people's video on. Audio, I mean, I generally leave it on both. Most people will join through computer audio, but we've had some people sometimes join through telephone. And if we do telephone, then it will allow people to get all the numbers that they can to call in, but you can also change it. If you know your group is in the UK, you're not going to have Dal from the United States. You're going to change it to whatever country you want, right? So then people get local numbers that they can call into. This is a great backup if people are having power problems or something like that, and they can't connect to the internet, but they still want to join the group temporarily. So then we also want allow participants to join at any time. If you're doing this format, you probably don't want people to join at any time. You want them to join in the beginning and then leave at the beginning, unless it's a drop-in, right? So then you want to change it. You can mute participants upon entry, automatically record the meeting, and then approve or block entry users from specific regions or countries. So if you don't want people to come from Australia to your virtual open studio, you can choose that. Just kind of strange, but also fine. And then you can also have an alternative host. So if you are co-running a studio, you can actually enter their email in here so that they can log in and run the studio with you. So then all you do is press save, and it will just come up as a meeting. And then when you've got that, you can click on it, you can have a look, and then you can also invite the link, you can copy the invitation, and you can share that with participants as well. So one of the other things as well, which is really useful here, is in settings. You can actually go through, and this is like kind of complex, but it sets up your settings for the whole thing. It chooses waiting rooms and passwords. And what was the one thing I wanted to show you? Yeah, so if you want to have a co-host, you can add. If you want to be able to share screen, you need to make sure as well in settings that you can do the screen share, and that's happening because sometimes it's automatically turned off. So you just want to go to the bottom and make sure. And also you want to probably put all participants can screen share. Sorry. But it can also be you. Maybe you want to be in control of the images and things like that. So it's really good to just go through and make sure things as well are turned on for you, especially if you're working one-to-one and you want to use the whiteboard, because a lot of times people will have problems and they'll be like, I don't know why I can't see the whiteboard. And it's actually because you don't have it turned on in your settings. So I really encourage you at some point to all kind of go through this and do this. The other thing that I wanted to show you within this is closed captioning. So if you have people joining your group who are hard of hearing or English isn't their first language or whatever language you are speaking in, you can turn on closed captions and then automatically captions will come up as you are talking, which is really, really useful. Yeah, and that can be really, really empowering and great for people as well. So that's just a few things to show you. Does anybody have any questions about Zoom? Yes, Sarah.
So when you put on the reoccurring meeting an hour and a half, will it automatically shut down at that time, or do you have to put end meeting?
No, you can choose when the meeting ends. So it's not just going to cut you off, but it kind of gives you a guideline. That's kind of like having a calendar within the session. Yeah. Yeah. Anyone else? Mary?
I was just wondering about the closed captioning. Do people have to request it of you though? Because I was noticing when you were going through, it looked like it was toggled on. So, and you said it would automatically do it, but I don't see it right now when you're talking.
So if you go to more, I don't know if you can see the Zoom, or maybe I have to turn it on.
Because on my screen, it says live transcript with CC on the bottom of the screen. I was just kind of playing with it because I thought, well, I don't know how to do this. And if I click on it, it says request that the host enable live transcription.
Yeah, I can accept people. I think you have to ask for it and then it will automatically come for you, or I can turn it on for everybody.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because it has a little part you can even toggle that says ask anonymously too. So I guess just one participant could just sort of ask for it without saying anything too, or having to.
You see it now coming up at the bottom?
I see it says it's been enabled.
Okay. I can see it coming up. Can everybody else or not? Maybe it's because Mary asked for it.
Yeah, it's underneath Denise. I can see it coming up. Can anybody else? It's that underneath. So it's.
Could it be that the rest of us don't have an updated account? Do you need to have like an
fine for everybody? But Mary somehow requested it.
Oh, the box showed up next to record and reactions on the bottom. I clicked on the live transcript box and it says show subtitle.
Ah, yes. Okay.
I had to enable it.
Yeah, I have it now too.
Yeah.
Great. Great. Thanks for problem solving, everybody. Yeah, for me, it was actually very, very important because last term I had somebody who was hard of hearing and they needed this for every class. And so it was really important that I had this on every single lecture. And it's so good as well for people whose language is not English, or even that I have an English accent. And sometimes people are like, what is she saying? And so it can be really good to follow along. So yeah, some of it doesn't get right.